All right, today we're diving into a topic that I think everyone can relate to: complexity and chaos at work. We're going to explore a new way to look at management, all based on the fantastic work of Alfonso Cornejo. Let's get right into it. You know, this quote from Leibniz really sets the stage for everything we're about to discuss. For way too long, we've been trying to run our organizations like they're predictable machines, but they're not. They are living, breathing systems full of energy and unpredictable forces. And that one little misunderstanding, it's the source of so much of our daily frustration. So, does this question hit home for you? That feeling of just constantly putting out fires, that sense of turbulence and disorder that seems to have no rhyme or reason? Well, the author of our source material started his whole study because he was living that reality, day in and day out, and he just knew there had to be some kind of underlying order to all that chaos. So what's the real problem here? Well, it's not that our organizations are fundamentally broken. It's that the mental model we use to understand them is, well, it's completely obsolete. We are stuck, all of us, in the trap of linear thinking. And this right here is the core mistake. We see a problem, so we do what a mechanic would do. We try to isolate one single part, fix it, and then plug it back into the machine, expecting everything to run smoothly again. But our companies aren't cars. They're these incredibly interconnected webs, and when you pull on one thread, it creates ripples everywhere else. This chart really highlights the huge shift in thinking we need to make. The old model, the one most of us are still using, focuses on the individual parts and simple A causes B logic. But the new paradigm, the one we need for today's world, focuses on the relationships between the parts. It forces us to accept that what happens is emergent and, often completely unpredictable. And here are the specific anchors from that old model that are just weighing us down. You've got rigid bureaucracy that hates change, short-term management that's always sacrificing the future for this quarter's numbers, our addiction to finding simple answers for really complex problems, and of course, those powerful, unwritten rules that dictate how we do things around here. Okay, so if linear thinking is the trap, what's the reality we should be looking at? Well, the reality is complexity. But we need to stop thinking of complexity as some big, scary problem we have to solve. We need to start seeing it for what it is, the fundamental, true nature of the systems we all work in. Let's get a really clear definition here. Complexity isn't just about having a ton of moving parts. It's really about the gap between all the challenges being thrown at your organization and your actual ability to handle them. When that gap gets too wide, that's when you feel the chaos. Now, to make this idea really concrete, the author uses this fantastic analogy. Think of your organization as a game being played with 3 dice. Each die represents a major force at play, and we're going to start with the first one. The first die is technology. This is the whole shebang, the software you use, the machines on the factory floor, the official procedures you have to follow, and even the very product you're selling. Each side of the die is a different variable, like whether the equipment is new or if it needs maintenance. Okay, the second die represents management. These are basically the formal rules of the game. We're talking about company policies, the official org chart, the annual planning cycles, and all the systems meant to keep things under control. And the third die, this is the big one. It's the human element. This is all about the people, their skills, what motivates them, how they work together in teams, and all those unwritten rules of the company culture. And let's be honest, this is often the most unpredictable die of them all. So here's where it gets crazy. When you roll these 3 dice together, you get a unique situation, a unique scenario. With just 6 variables on each of those 3 dice, that's 216 possible outcomes. 216! Now just stop and imagine your real organization with thousands of variables. The potential for chaos isn't just big, it's astronomical. Now, we can actually categorize all this complexity into 3 main types. First, you've got origin complexity. This is just the stuff that comes with the territory. It's inherent to your industry. Then there's residual complexity, which is like the daily friction from clunky processes. But the most dangerous kind? That's provoked complexity, the chaos we literally create for ourselves through bad decisions and office politics. Okay, so if we can't control every roll of the dice, how in the world can we manage all this chaos? This brings us to the most powerful tool in this whole discussion, the structure process model. I want you to think of it like a hidden grammar or a secret decoder ring that finally explains why people act the way they do. At the very heart of this model is a dynamic relationship. The structure, which is basically the underlying rules and the setup of the game, determines the kind of behaviors or processes that are even possible. But it's a feedback loop. Over time, the way people behave again and again, that actually starts to change the original structure. So let's break down what we mean by structure. It is so much more than just the org chart. Think of it as the chessboard and the rules of the game. It's the official strategies for sure, but it's also the software you use, the physical layout of the office, the cultural beliefs everyone just kind of accepts, and the specific roles people play. These are the powerful, often invisible forces shaping everything. And if structure is the board and the rules, then processes are the actual plays being made in the game. These are the behaviors you can actually see every single day. It's how people communicate, how decisions actually get made, whether teams cooperate or just fight all the time, and how the organization learns or doesn't. And this quote, this is the absolute key to everything. This is the big aha moment. We spend so much time and energy trying to fix processes, sending memos saying we need better communication, without realizing we're only attacking the symptoms. If you want to create real, lasting change, you have to change the underlying structure that's causing those bad processes in the first place. So what does all this mean for us as leaders? It means we need a fundamental shift in our perspective. It's about learning to manage the entire game, not just freaking out and reacting to every single play on the board. And that brings us to the ultimate takeaway. The world is complex. Your organization is complex. The goal can't be to eliminate chaos and achieve some kind of perfect, predictable control. That's a losing battle, and it'll burn you out. The new goal is to become incredibly skilled at navigating complexity, learning to influence the system instead of just trying to command it from the top down. We have all seen this happen a million times. A problem pops up, and what's the immediate reaction? Who's to blame? We find a scapegoat, we put out that one little fire, and we move on, thinking we solved something. But we never stop to ask the most important question. What in our system, what part of our structure allowed this fire to even start? That is the real problem. So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question to really think about. Look at your own workplace. What are the invisible rules of the game? What's the outdated software that everyone secretly complains about but has to use? What's that unwritten cultural belief that failure is not an option? Because identifying those hidden structures, that is the first and most powerful step you can take toward truly managing the complexity of your world.